What if you had the resources you needed for your mental health right at your fingertips? Imagine a world where our mental well-being is prioritized just like our physical health, and where we have access to the tools and support we need. That's exactly what the Make Mental Health Matter show is all about. Join Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, a true warrior for mental health, founder of Make Mental Health Matter nonprofit, author, and wellness coach. This show is your gateway to breaking down the stigma surrounding mental health. Tune in for enlightening conversations, expert insights, and empowering stories that will not only increase awareness, but also provide education about mental health. It's time to have those hard conversations, prioritize your well-being, and make your mental health matter. Your mental wellness journey starts here.
Welcome to another episode of the Make Mental Health Matter show. I am your host, Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, and I don't have a guest this week again. That's okay. I I always like to do the behind the scenes thing because if you have your own show, or maybe you've been thinking about doing a podcast or a show, or you're like, I could do all the things that all these people do. Yeah. Or you might have that opposite of like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. Right? Freaking out because that's the opposite. Before I came on, I couldn't hear anything, and I was like, oh no, my microphone's not working again. Well, there's two buttons or two dials on my microphone, and the speaker part was not up. So, you know, if you can't hear yourself and you can't hear what's going on, you got to turn up the dial. Yes. That's what I love here. So if you're just tuning in, watching or listening to the Make Mental Health Matter show for the very first time, thank you so much for being here. I love the show because I can be totally me, fully honest, transparent, but also give back to you in a way that I never thought was possible. Throughout time, I have told my story many, many, many times on the show, and I always try to, whether it's bring a guest on that is an expert in the mental health space, they are an advocate, or they have lived experience, whatever that lived experience is. I've had many, many guests from all different walks of life, people who are suicide loss survivors, people who are survivors of cancer, people who have had really traumatic events happen in their life, and now they're doing amazing work with other individuals to help them not have to go through what they did, or they're like, this is what I needed when I was in that space. And I think that's why I love it so much when I have guests, because one, I don't have to talk as much, and that's always great. But two, because I learn things from my guests all the time. And you may, if you've been watching or listening to the show for quite some time, you probably are starting to see the theme that I use a lot of the tools that my guests have given me, and then I give back to you, uh, because maybe you didn't watch that episode, or maybe this is your first time tuning in. And so you're like, I've never heard this information before, but I definitely try not to repeat too often, because if you do watch this every single week, every single Monday, or you listen to it, you're like, man, you just talked about that last week. Why are you talking about it again? And then you're like, and I'm done. I'm tuned out. So try to make something different every single week. So I want to shift a little bit. Um, shift in thought, I guess. But I also, something I love is that I show up. I come whether I do have a guest or I don't have a guest. That's a value that I live by in my life and in my business. And there are some times that I can't show up, and that's okay too. So we have to be able to give ourselves some grace that we can't always do everything. We can't always show up to everything. So we have to learn the power of no. And this may be a topic that people are like, what are you talking about? And why would you even want to talk about this? In the self development space, if you think about, I'm not going to call some people out, but there's some big names that are in the self development space that they use a lot of techniques of yes and yes, getting you into that place of saying yes all the time. And they repeat that. They're like, you guys know what I'm talking about. Yes and yes, or that makes sense to you. Yes, yes. And they say it to get us as the consumers, as the watchers, as the personal development, rah, rah, rah. Yes, 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 I want to be a part of it. And then you leave there and you're like, what did I just say yes to? Or maybe in the moment you're like, does that actually resonate with me? Or was I just agreeing because they told me to say yes? So I like to shift, as I often do. I like to flip the script on its head and think about the power of no. I'm not saying that it's an always no, right? I also have the extreme opposite people in my life that everything that you bring up is a no. And though that is probably the most annoying thing ever, because I think there's a pause that needs to be had, whether you're saying no or yes. And I think that oftentimes we don't allow our brain that pause that it needs to really think about what we're doing in that moment, in that space. And I'm talking about really, there's two different worlds, right? Like we have our business world that saying yes to things is important, but saying no to things is also important. Then we have our personal space, which again, I think it goes both ways. There are things that are important to say yes to, and there's also things that are important to say no to. I reflect on this really as a parent also. If you're constantly giving your kids things or you're constantly saying yes, what is that teaching them? But the other extreme, right? If you're constantly saying no and you're constantly not allowing them to grow and giving them that space and sharing with them the abundance and there's a lot of words, I guess, that come out and a little emotion that comes out for me around that. If you're constantly saying no, what kind of damage, what kind of trauma does that create for your kids? And maybe you're somebody like me that I mean, you could probably think about those times that you maybe asked your parents for something and they're like, no, we don't have money for that, or no, we don't have time for that, or no, that's just not possible. And we start to create these stories in our mind that trigger not a full, I mean, it could be a trauma, it could totally be a trauma. And there's these small moments in time that words were said to us that led us down this path of a certain belief. And then that belief shapes how we grow into adults. And it's the belief that continues with us that we're not good enough, we don't have enough, time is very limited. Um, Wealth is not a thing that we can have, wealth or money or whatever you want to call it. So, like, money story is another one that I kind of, I've been doing a lot of um, work around for years about my money story personally. And when you talk about a money story, it's like What did you learn in childhood that defined what wealth or money looked like? So, some of the activities, and it's interesting how it shifted. So, when I first started down my personal development journey, which was way back in the day, I would say that was really like when I really, really dived in. It was actually the year after my sister passed, so 2018. And I've told this story before, but I'm going to share it just for those of you that don't know, and it is pertinent to this story. I went to this community and I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be like, rah, 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 rah. We're so excited. It's going to pump me up. It's 3 days. And then that first day I got in there, I was bawling the whole entire day. And I was like, what is happening? I was like, I thought this was supposed to be motivating. And I'm like processing through all these emotions. And I'm like, what is happening? Of course, it leads into a space that is good. It wasn't just all bad, but there was a lot of emotions that got processed during that first day of a 3 day conference. And I don't know if it's really a conference, because when I think conference, it's like stuffy, but it was like a summit, I guess is a better word. Um, and so I furthermore started learning tools and techniques that would help me understand not only like why I do what I do, but also what are these beliefs and these stories and these patterns that run my life. And at that point, we had started talking about like our money story and how we, in childhood, what was the story around money and the patterns and all of those beliefs and all the things. So that was really like, sorry, microphone. That was really the first time that I started processing this type of information. Fast forward, I did a whole bunch of things like Transformation Academy. I did like Tony Robbins events. I did, um, what else did I do? Because then, like, leading into that, right, what became COVID, and then everything went virtual. So we had information at our fingertips. We were able to tap into these classes virtually versus having to spend thousands of dollars to go to the place and go to the event. Of course, I did. I did the Tony Robbins one in person during COVID. That was amusing, and I actually came back with COVID. So, you know, me and all my 10,000 friends, we were in the same room. And yeah, I ended up getting COVID after I came back from that trip. But anyways, um, I didn't die. Look, I'm still here. I'm still alive. Um, and I did get the shots. I know some people are, well, did you get a shot? Did you not? I got all the shots that I needed, like before I went to this trip. Like that was 2021, 2021, 2022, something around that. Not 2020, 2021, because it was the year before my wedding. So, yes, I got all the shots that they were required before you traveled, but I still got COVID. So, it doesn't magically just not give it to you. It's just like the flu. You just get a lot less of the virus generally. Okay, but that's a whole nother a whole nother topic. We're not going there. So starting down this self-development journey, and it's all the rah-rah, everybody's amazing, I'm amazing, I can do anything, I'm so powerful, I'm breaking out of all these fears. I mean, this is really like shifting my entire life, my entire being, like everything that I was is not what I am now. And I attribute that very much to that time in my life when I did say yes, when I walked the path that I had no idea how the heck I was going to pay for all these things. I had no idea that I had even an inkling or a reach or a little bit of access to the resources that I needed at that time to get to the place that I am today. So saying yes was one of those big things that everybody's like, say yes to everything. Make sure that you're saying yes because you never know where that opportunity is going to lead to. And if you don't say yes, then you'll never even know what that might lead to. And so it was very much that yes, 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 yes culture, yes culture. And then I'd have those moments that I leave places and I'm like, what did I just do? What did I get myself into? Can I actually do this? So then I start going into my spiral of disbelief and I start going into my unconscious mind that is telling me that I can't do it, right? And then I drop out of programs or I buy stuff and then I never use them because why? Because people like spending money that they don't actually use programs. Or I do. Okay, not everybody, but I do. Um, but I also acknowledge, and now I acknowledge this even more, is that I need programs where I have to show up. I need programs where I'm not self directed. It's not a give me the link to your course and I'm going to go do it. Those don't work for me. When I have to show up, whether it's virtually or in person, like I'm going to show up because I committed to doing those things. And so I've learned that a lot over time. Yes, I will go and I'll do the training as long as there's something that I have to be accountable for. So there's a lot of ways that we show up that are very different. And you might be somebody who is the complete opposite of me, that you would rather have it all online. You don't have to talk to anybody. You're going to get it done. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be great. You're going to use all the information that you just learned from this course and you're going to implement it. And you never even had to talk to a soul the whole entire time. Super cool. And I commend you that you can do that. That is just not me. And I have learned this a lot over time. I also am one that if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. That just comes with the territory, really, of being an entrepreneur and somebody who now has a very large team, and that we have a lot of things in the works that are really, really great, right? But I have to figure out priorities and I have to figure out organization and I have to step into the spaces that really support the way that I learn and support the way that I value showing up. So that was a whole lot of talking about like what are our beliefs, what are our patterns, how do things when we're younger transform into our adulthood. And then I'm gonna shift. I have to go to my quick first sponsored break, but once I get back I want to shift into talking about the no because I talked a lot about the yes. So let's talk about the no. I'll be right back after this quick sponsored break.
What if you could transform your mental health journey with just one question? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to prioritize your mental well-being like never before? Well, now's your chance. Introducing Make Mental Health Matter, the show that's changing the conversation about mental wellness. Join us every Monday on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we delve into insightful discussions, expert advice, and inspiring stories. Hosted by Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, a warrior for mental health. This show is your guide to breaking down the stigma surrounding mental health and discovering valuable resources to enhance your well-being. So, are you ready to take charge of your mental health journey? Tune in and let's make mental health matter together.
And like that, I'm back. If you happen to be just tuning in to the Make Mental Health Matter show, thank you so much for watching or listening, whether you are watching on E360 TV or you're listening on Dream Vision 7 radio. There's lots of other ways to tune in, whether that is from the YouTube channel, which is at Make Mental Health Matter, or you can also go to the Make Mental Health Matter show YouTube. Excuse me, Facebook page. Yes, we have a Facebook page and we have a Instagram page. So you can always tap in there too. Those are great places to drop even your comments. If you are on Facebook or you're on Instagram, make sure you go and follow, or if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Please, please, please do me that favor. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, it's youtube.com at Make Mental Health Matter. And if you're going to Instagram, it's actually Make Mental Health Matter _. Somebody has the name Make Mental Health Matter and they don't even use it. How rude. Anyways, the Facebook page is Make Mental Health Matter. Everywhere else, it's just Make Mental Health Matter. But Instagram, we have to have an _. All right. That is not what I'm talking about today. I am talking about the power of yes, but also the power of no. And when I talk about this, I want you to think about two different situations. So you have your business life, or as an employee, as an employer. You also have your personal life, which again, if you have a family, you don't have a family, you are in a situationship. We'll go with that one. But the power of yes and no. So in the past, when I was getting out of the corporate world and really into this entrepreneur space, yes was a really big thing. Showing up has always been a really big thing. Although, had you asked me in the past if I always showed up, it probably was not a no. I probably made more excuses not to show up than I would actually show up. And I don't know what that was. There's social anxiety. There is boredom in a way. There is exhaustion. I mean, there's probably a lot of reasons, or I'm probably more tapping into that anxiety of going, or I just got lazy, to be honest. That's generally probably when or what happened. Moving forward now, I really anchored into showing up being one of my values. And I often, so there's like the flip side that I often overcommit to things. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can get all of these done in this day. And this. They'll all get done, I promise. It doesn't always happen. A lot of like my personal stuff gets kind of shoved to the side. And for the most part, so if there's anybody else involved, as far as like I have to show up for somebody else, I will be there for the most part, unless something happens, like something like a catastrophe happens, or something with my family, or I'm just like beyond exhausted. And that has happened. I mean, you can also call that burnout. You can also call that, yeah, just exhaustion, pure exhaustion, stress, burnout, whatever you want to call it. And so you have to also tap into the power of no. Because, especially as an entrepreneur, so those of you, I mean, employees could totally use this too. But when, okay, I'm going to go employee first. If you're an employee and you are looking for that promotion, maybe, or you are um, wanting to help out your supervisor or your manager, or you're just trying to look really good, I guess, and in the eyes of the people above you, you could possibly overcommit and you'll be like, oh, I can get this, and this done. But then, like, can you? Do you have enough time? Is it actually possible? And what are the effects if you don't get them done? You don't actually look better in the eyes of whoever you were trying to impress, because now they're like, well, they said they were going to do this and now they're not doing it, right? So it could go the wrong way. You could totally get it all done. That's cool. Like if you know yourself well enough and you're like, I can do that, great, do it. And then also as an employer or as an entrepreneur, I know for my nonprofit, visibility is key. If nobody sees me, nobody even knows that we exist, right? But I guess I just said that. So I also catch my own words, but I don't always now have to be the person that people see. The cool part is that I have a really amazing team of volunteers, and I have board members, and I have staff now that I don't always have to be the one that shows up. I generally am, but that's just because I am the only one that works full time on this. It is my baby, and I also value the connections and the collaborations that we make. And I think that it shows something a little bit different when, like, a CEO or the founder shows up, versus when you're just sending in your volunteers or sending in your secretary or whomever it might be, right? When I see a founder show up, I'm like, yeah, like this is super cool, because then I make that connection, right? And we start to connect, and you're connecting with your audience, you're connecting with your community. Like, you people look or go to these events to connect with the founders, right? I've never in my lifetime, I get that they're like way, way, way more giant than we are, and there's no possible way that the founder could be everywhere anymore. I know that they were. So, American Foundation of Suicide Prevention, that's who pops into my head, right? They are national at this point. There's no way that the founder can show up everywhere, right? Also, they have built this giant, impactful nonprofit that now they're able to put people in place. And obviously, like, that's the goal, right? And so there are a lot of nonprofits that we know that are on the national level that a founder just cannot physically be at everything all the time. I get that we'll get to that point. I already know we're going to be at that point, right? I can't possibly do all the things. Hence the reason that we're growing and we're expanding and we're building our community, we're building our volunteers, we're building our board, and we're growing and exponentially going in the direction of being able to be on a national level. Yes, it's going to happen. A good yes right there. But then there's going to have to be a lot of shifting into the no, the space of, I would love to be a part of your networking group, but I cannot add any more networking on my plate. And I've had to step into that really in the last couple of years. So 2024 was our year of visibility. My goal was to get out in the community as often as I possibly could. And then I could, well, then, and I also joined a ton of networking groups. And the purpose was to get more visibility. We were shifting, we had a name change. We were changing from BCC Evolution to Make Mental Health Matter. That name change ended up being huge for us. And also that visibility. So I did 28, I think 28 events that year, other people's events. And then we had our own events, which we do four events per year. So we had our own events, and then I did other people's events, and also speaking and the networking groups. So I joined multiple chambers. I joined BNI. I have a Colorado Business Connections that I've been a part of since 2021. I also more recently joined Polka Dots, and I'm like, what are all the, oh, part of eWomen Network. I have been a part of that network for 3 years now. So I promise I do sleep every once in a while. I sleep every night, and that's a boundary that I set. So I'll talk about boundaries here in a minute. So there are networking groups that I have joined over time. And yes, there were other opportunities. I went to other networking groups. I didn't, not that I, well, I guess some of them I don't know if I really fit here or it's not really going to be beneficial for our nonprofit. Obviously, like visibility is generally always beneficial for a nonprofit, but when you're stepping into a space, like there are some that are not beneficial, that really do not align with our values, with our mission, with our vision. And those sometimes are networking groups that there's a lot of clickiness to them, or there's a lot of shit talking. Like, I mean, you would be surprised at some of the networking events and the members that are within these networking events and or networking groups and how much they talk crap, whether it's about their members or the members inside talk crap about each other. Like, why? I mean, genuinely, is that something I want to step into? No, not at all. Sometimes it's hard to see, sometimes it's hard to figure out until you're like fully immersed in the community. And then you start looking around and you're like, this is not okay. And I have left communities like that because this it didn't align with my values. That was not what I was trying to accomplish in this thing that we call life. Like we are all about non-judgment. We are all about inclusion. We are all about like bringing people together, not talking crap about people. I have gained some really amazing people out of those communities that do align with what we're doing within the nonprofit and myself personally, but otherwise communities like that do not serve what we're trying to do and how we're serving our population. So, there are lots of things that not locks, there are opportunities that you have to say no. There are opportunities that you have to step out of. There are opportunities that might be really cool to do and try it, right? A lot of it is experimenting and figuring out, does it work? Does it align? Is it valuable? Is the time that you take to be a part of those events or a part of those communities or a part of those networking groups or organizations or whatever it happens to be, is it valuable for you? Or are you just another face in a crowd? So there's lots of things to consider there. And when you step in and you're like, this doesn't really work for me, then no is a great option. You don't have to feel like that is something that you have to stick to just because you did it one time, right? Again, experiment, see what works for you or doesn't work for you. And then shifting into like the personal side. So I just talked a lot about the business side. And that could be as entrepreneurs, that could be business owners, that could be CEOs, high level executives, right? Generally, the people that have a little bit more say, but also as employees, right? Are you being asked to do a task that doesn't align with your personal values? Is it a requirement or is it something that you may be able to ask to change? I think for me, like when I was in the corporate world, that was scary. Trying to ask for what I needed as a supervisor or even as an agent when I was an agent, asking for what I needed or maybe how I needed help or um asking if we could change things, right? Like that's kind of scary because you're like, if I ask the wrong question, they might fire me and then I won't have a job and then I can't pay my bills, right? Then we go into this negative cycle of thought. And so it can be hard as an employee, but I will tell you that if it doesn't align with your moral compass, if it doesn't align with your personal values, if it doesn't feel like, they say trust your gut, if it doesn't feel right, say no. Say no, and then, and or shift and ask for what you need. Because if a company is doing shady things, then why would you want to be a part of that company? I mean, I understand like money can be really tight and it's a motivator to stay in positions that we don't feel align with what we're trying to accomplish in our life. But also, like, if it feels really shady, why would you want to stay there? I can almost guarantee that you will find a position that they make you feel seen, they make you feel heard, they make you feel like you are a valuable part of their company, and you don't have to do shady things because somebody tells you to do, right? And I'm not telling everybody to go quit your job. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, what you're doing, does it align with your values or not? And how do you step into the no energy? And what does that look like for you as an employee? All right, I gotta go to my quick last first, not last first, my quick last sponsored break. And once I get back, I want to talk about more on the personal side. So I'll be right back after this quick sponsor break.
1,917 people die daily from suicide globally.
I lost my middle sister, Carrie, to a completed suicide on February 20th, 2017.
How does Kelli, host of the Make Mental Health Matter show, impact lives? Number 1. Awareness.
My story, however, it isn't unique. I am a domestic violence survivor and a recovering addict. For 14 years, I was in active addiction, and because of Kelli and the work that she does and the opportunity to have my voice heard, I was able to stay clean and sober and have hit a year. I'm still here, and if it wasn't for Kelli answering my call the day that I thought I was going to take my life.
2. Conversation.
I'm curious, and I know that I've heard a lot in the BIPOC community. It is very hush hush. It's like one of those things that you don't talk about. Like, you literally feel like it's not a conversation you can have. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
First, shout out to Kelli, because I'm glad that she asked the question. I researched you before I went on your show, and I saw how real and authentic you were. And I just appreciate the question, because it is different and we have to have tough, courageous conversations. So yes, I always say I'm a triple diversity threat. I'm a Black woman with multiple disabilities. Now, I'm not really a threat, but to other people, I may be, because people fear the unknown and what they're uncomfortable with.
Number 3. Education.
Kelli's passionate commitment to mental health awareness is a beautiful thing. It's clear in her social media posts, it's clear in the resources that she puts together, in the activities that she provides, her collaboration with organizations, and the consistent way that she continues to deliver a message encouraging people to understand that they can share openly and to break the stigma around mental health. Kelli's topics cover children and adults, talk about things that we can do as a community, things that we can do individually, and her website is packed with information and resources and all kinds of contacts that you can use to reach out, whether you're dealing with something yourself or you're looking to help somebody else who is struggling. I encourage you to check it out.
And like that, I'm back. If you happen to be just tuning in to the Make Mental Health Matters, I don't know why I just said that that way. But if you happen to be just tuning into the Make Mental Health Matters show, go back and watch the whole beginning of this because you missed like 40 minutes. It's cool. All right, so I'm talking about today the power of leaning into yes energy and no energy. I know you thought I was going to only say yes energy, but there is a no energy to this also. And I was talking about being an employee, being an employer, being an entrepreneur, what that means for you. But going to the personal side. So if you are a person that whenever somebody comes to you and asks you a question, or they ask you to do something, or they ask for something, and the answer is always no. And then you pause and you start thinking about it, and then it shifts to a yes. Like, how do you think that that makes the person, whomever it is? So it could be your kid, it could be your spouse, it could be really anybody in your life. I'm going to think about this like as your kid. So if your kid is coming to you and asking, "Hey, can we go to the park today?" And you're like, "No." Or, "Hey, can we go get some ice cream?" No. Um, can we can we go camping? No. Or I don't know, I'm just like throwing out things. But if you think about that, like the energy of always going up to your parent and everything, like, wouldn't you just stop asking, right? If they're like, you're like, "I want to ride my bike." No, it's too cold outside. Why would you want to go outside and ride your bike? Because I'm a kid and it's the summertime. It's not even that cold, right? Um, or if you're a spouse, and you're like, "Hey, we should go check out this new restaurant." And they're like, "No, I'm really tired." Or, "I don't really like that food." Or if you're like, "I think we should totally go to the ballet." And you're like, "I don't like the ballet. Why would I go to the ballet?" I don't know, because you love me and I'm your spouse and you want to go do things with me, right? Like that energy of like constantly saying no, and it's exhausting for the person that is asking all the time, that you're like, "I'm trying to do things, like I want to go on a bike ride, or I want to go for a walk after dinner, or I want to," but this person like is too tired, or they don't like that food, or they don't want to be in the middle of public, or it's always too cold, or whatever, right? Like, going back to the excuses that I talked about earlier, that was probably me in a past life, because I was like, "No, no, 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 no." What is it's a Lego Batman. Sorry, my brain just went. Lego Batman, if you watch, he's like, "No, no, 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 no." And he flips around and he does it. He's like, "No, no." It's funny. Okay, sorry. My brain always goes to like funny things. But that's him. "No, no, no, no. I don't want to. No, no, no." But you are in this energy of no, constantly saying no. And it creates such a negative energy for everybody around you. I will tell you. And it's hard to be with somebody that is that way. It is also hard to be a kid when your parents are always that way, right? So I invite you, as I do myself, I invite you to shift into this space of more understanding, or pause, and really listen to the question that is being asked. So if you're I'm like looking outside right now, and it looks like it's starting to get a little colder right now, and I just had that thought of like, my kid said that he was going to be out riding his bike all summer long, right? If he had come up to me right now and been like, "I want to go ride my bike," I'd be like, "You might want to step outside first and see if it's cold or not." And that's just me, because I'm looking outside. It looks like it's going to storm. Actually, I know later on it's supposed to storm. And so in my brain, as the adult, I'm like, now's not a great time. So I probably would say not right now. Or, like I said it in the beginning, was, "Hey, you might want to go step outside before you consider going and riding your bike to see if it's cold or not, or maybe if there's a storm coming." Instead of me saying no, I give them a choice. I allow them to choose whether they want to or not, instead of me always saying no. Obviously, if it is not safe, I am going to say no. But if it is something that they have the choice, maybe they like to ride in the rain, maybe they I don't know, they need to get their energy out before it starts raining, right? There's a lot of things as to why people want to do what they do. I would even say I've had people, so it just came up, kind of the mental health portion. A lot of people are like, well, the self-care that I do is I go out and walk, so everybody should just go out and walk. Okay, but walking works for you, it doesn't work for everybody. And I've had people in the past tell me, if somebody else tells me to go take a walk, I'm gonna punch them in the face. Because they're like, I don't want to freaking walk, I just want to sit on my couch, that's all I want to do. Okay, cool, right? That's your choice. So I think as humans, we have to, as humans, as parents, as employers, as employees, as both, right, business and personal, we have to think about like what serves us and how can we help the energy not be so negative, or the opposite of that yes, yes energy of like, it's so my body does funny things. But those of you that are not watching, you're like, what is happening? But when I think of the yes, yes energy, like it does it like kind of pulls me up and I'm like, woo, like, but it feels frantic. It's not like a good energy. It's like a frantic, like anxiety type of energy. Inside Out, if you've seen Inside Out 2, they have anxiety on there. If I think of like the yes, yes energy, that's what I think about, is the anxiety character. She's like, ah, like all over the place, like swirling around and like running in circles inside the head. And anyways, that's how I think about the yes, yes energy, because you're like, yes, yes, oh yeah. And then by the time you're like done, you're like, holy crap, like my body hurts, because that's like way too much energy rushing through my brain for that amount of time. But then if you think about the no energy, and if you're like really in that no energy, that's a lot. That's a lot. And it's a heavy, it's a negative energy. Like even my body just like sunk down, and I'm like, ugh, like I can feel like I just starts to like hurt my neck. So you have to find that balance. What I'm telling you is there is a balance that you can find in the yes and the no energy. You also have to be very aware of how is it affecting you? Is it something to better, like, is it better for that something to say no? Is it better for that something to say yes? And if you say yes, show up. Show up. If you say yes, do your best to show up, right? If something like a catastrophe happens, totally get it, right? Um, you can't go. Great. But if you say yes, like show up. And also, if you say no, take it as a no, right? If it's like boundaries, that's where I was coming back to. We have to set boundaries. I didn't learn this for a long time as an entrepreneur. Well, not really, because I luckily had a business coach about a year into my it was my first year of, well, no, about my year and a half ish. No, somewhere, a year. But I luckily had a friend who was one of my business coaches. She had run her business for a very long time, and she's like, you've got to set boundaries. And I was like, what are boundaries? What are you talking about? I'm like, as an employee, I showed up, I did my job, I clocked in, I clocked out, I got out. I didn't have to think about it, right? But with being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, that doesn't happen. You don't clock in, you don't clock out. Like there's no clocking of any clocks that happen. And so you have to set boundaries. She's like, you need to organize your calendar. You also need to schedule certain things on your calendar at certain times and stick to them. And I'm like, what are you talking about? As an entrepreneur, I'm like, I have to work all the time, 24/7. Blah. I'm like, that's what entrepreneurs do. They get busy and they do all the things and blah, 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 right? There's that my verbal vomit that's coming out. But I recently see I learn all the time. And I so two things stick out to me because I've had lots of mentors over time and really amazing people, and I continue to have mentors. I continue to have business coaches, because everybody brings something very different. In my past, I was not very organized. I am becoming very organized, or not very. Let's not go to that extreme. But I'm becoming much more organized. And that is thanks to my most recent business coach. She is very organized. And that was the whole thing was all about organization. So it was really good for me to step into that energy. I also have another mentor. That she talks a lot about busy is the new stupid. So shout out to Sandra Yancey, who got that from somebody else, and I don't remember who she said it was, but busy is the new stupid. We can all be busy, right? But what does busy really mean? And it's not that when you say I'm busy that you're stupid. It just means that you're making excuses as to why you are always working, or you're making excuses as to why you can't do things because you're too busy, right? You have that. And I am guilty of this. I mean, when people are like, how are things going? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been so busy. And I'm trying to now shift into it's been really bonkers, and not that that's any better by any means, but to me it feels a little bit better because I'm not bringing in the energy of always having to be busy. And I also acknowledge that it's not just busy, it's actually like genuinely we're building a really amazing nonprofit that is starting to impact, or has been impacting, lots and lots of lives. But like we're leveling up, we're going that next level, and that takes a lot of time, space, energy. And that's what feels bonkers to me, is that it is happening in a rapid fashion. And also it's so good, like there's so much juiciness to it, but it's also very bonkers. It's just it feels bonkerish. That's a new word today, bonkerish. But one thing that she said to the other day, that really stuck out to me, and yes, I write down a lot of these things because I'm like, oh, that was so good. So success rarely comes from doing more. It comes from moving faster on what matters most. And most successful CEOs are not the busiest, they are the ones that create velocity. Those were two quotes that she said, and she calls them light bulb moments, LBMs, light bulb moments. But the whole thing is that you don't have to be busier, you don't have to be doing more things to be successful. The most successful CEOs actually do less because they are now buying or investing in giving themselves time back. And they're investing in the people that can do it better, faster, more efficient than maybe we're capable of as CEOs. And that's really powerful. Like, if you think about, well, for me, right? Like, if I think about that, that's so powerful. That's such a powerful energy to be in. And it's not that yes and the no energy, but there's a lot of yes and no energy in there, because I have to know what is a yes for me to do and what is a no for me to do in my business. So, if there's anything that I can give you or that I can share with you, hopefully understanding this yes and no energy and using it how it works for you best in your business and in your personal life. And again, that's going to be different for everybody. It is different for me. It is different for you. We are all humans and we all have different human experiences. And what's going to be right for me is going to be very different, or right for you. So, something, and I keep smacking my hand. Sorry, loud bangs. One thing that I want to share before I jump off is we are really trying to fully understand our audience with Make Mental Health Matter. So my ask for this week is that you go to our website and fill out our survey. I just put a QR code right in front of my face. Because I'm just gonna drop it right here. drop it, Alexa, drop it. Okay, sorry. So scan that QR code and go to our website and fill out our survey that is on the main page. We are trying to really fully understand our audience, how we can help you, how we can serve you better, how we can support you as the people that watch or listen to this show. You can also go to mmhm.org. I know those of you that are not watching, you can't see the QR code. So go to mmh.org. That's Mary, Harry, Mary.org. And you'll see the survey at the very top of our website. I would be super duper grateful if you can help me in that way. Just tell me a little bit more about you. Tell me a little bit more about how this content helps you, or I don't know, there's a bunch of questions. So go answer them and I would be super grateful. But no matter what you do, make sure you come back next week. I go live every single Monday at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. on Dream Vision 7 Radio, or you can watch on E360 TV at 5 p.m. That is Mountain Denver time. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Thank you for joining today for the Make Mental Health Matter show. We hope you found today's episode insightful and empowering. Remember, your mental health journey doesn't end here. For more resources, support, and information, visit us online at makementalhealthmatter.org. You won't forget to subscribe to our show or follow us on social media to stay connected and continue the conversation, will you? That's right. Together, let's make mental health matter. Until next time, take care of yourselves and